All right. So, hello and welcome everyone. So, we are live right now. All right. Am I audible to all of you? Okay. So, please do let me know if I'm audible. All right. That's great. So, welcome back to today's channel. And we are basically back again with another important chapter. And today, our chapter is going to be on the topic of area under the curve. One of the very important chapter for definite integral. This is what we are going to do in today's class. We are also going to see how you can tackle questions on difficult concepts and how you are going to apply the concept, especially for your upcoming JEE Advanced examination. So today our discussion is going to be revolving around this particular topic where we are going to understand and along with that we are also going to see how we can try to solve those questions. Okay, so we will be basically looking in the previous year questions, and along with the previous year question we are also going to understand how you can prepare or how you can strategize your particular study, especially for the JEE Advanced upcoming examinations. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if we can let's get started. So before we start, another very important thing that I would like to tell you all of you that I know that you have already given your JEE mains examination, so you must have already covered these chapters, right? So before we start, I would again request all of you to please go through the NCERT textbook once again, as well as your NCERT exemplar. Okay, because this will actually help you to get over of the basics part, and once you're done with the basics, then you can jump in to this particular lectures along with the short notes. Now if you haven't prepared short notes, I would request all of you to please prepare short notes, and then let's get started on this particular session. Is this part clear to all of you? All right, so that's great. So let's get started on this today's part, and our topic is going to be area under the curve, right? Now, before we start, I have something to tell all of you that basically we are going to discuss these kinds of questions every day on this particular channels, right? So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click on the bell icons to never miss out any upcoming notification. So if you all know that we have already started the JEE Advanced series. Previously, we have already covered JEE Main series, and along with that, not only in maths, we are also coming with chemistry, physics, and as well as for your NEET exam preparation. So that is a great thing and a great opportunity for all of you. And if you feel this particular channel is helping out, then don't forget to hit the like button, and also do share this particular content among your friends so that your friends can also take the benefit of it. So with this, let's get started. So today our topic is going to discuss on the previous year topics, as well as we are also going to understand and see how the MCQ questions are basically being asked, and also we are also going to look into the JEE Advanced previous integer type questions. Okay, so that is all what we today do in this particular session. Now, before I start this topic of area under the curve, one of the most important common misconception that students generally have before they go on to discuss or study about the topic of definite integral is that now they think that definite integral from a to b or under the limit of a to b for any function basically means an area. But they had to be very clear that it does not actually means area, it actually means algebraic area. So before you start to discuss about the chapter of area under the curve, it is very important and crucial to understand that it is not the actual area, it is the algebraic area or the area with a sign, right? So whenever we will be talking about the area under the curve, we basically mean the magnitude of the area. That means now what is the value or the magnitude of area, right? So we are not interested about the sign of the area, we are interested only in the magnitude of the area, right? So whenever we'll discuss about area under the curve. Okay, now for example, I need to discuss about the area under the curve with x-axis. So our area is going to be a to b f of x and mod of it, right? So I will just put a mod of over here. Yeah, hi Shoria. DSD, what do you mean by DSD? Kamlesh Behra. All right, thank you. Thank you for your words. So I hope this particular part is clear. Yes, Kamlesh, is this part clear? All right. So with this, let's get started. And today we have the very first question on your screen. Okay. So let's start to solve this particular question. And along with that, we also try to understand the underlying theory behind this. Okay, so I would request all of you to please go through this question and try to solve it. Try to give it a thought, and maybe if you can, that will be a wonderful thing. Oh, that's good. Okay, Kamlesh, can you please try this question? Yeah, hi, study with Jojo. Good afternoon. Can you please try to solve this question? Please give it a look. Then let's start this question. Okay. So if you try to look at this problem over here, it is talking about a function which is defined for a particular parameter of t, right? So if you look at this particular problem over here, it is talking about a function which is parametrically defined for the values of t. Okay, so it is said that for all t belongs to this particular criteria, that is t is equal to 2n minus 1, where n belongs to all the natural number, then the value of the functional value of t basically is equals to minus 1 to the power n plus 1 times 2, right? And when the t is basically lines between 2n minus 1 to 2n plus 1, then we have the functional value as follows, right? Now it is said that there is another function which is defined as g of x. It is such that it is given as integration of 1 to x. It is a variable definite integral. So as you can see over here, it is defined as 1 to x, and for the given function f of t dt, right? That is what is mentioned, and it is true for all x basically greater than 1. Now it is said that let alpha denotes the number of solution for the equation gx equals to 0 in the interval 1 to 8, and beta is defined as the limit of this function g of x divided by x minus 1 for x belongs to L plus. Okay, so that is what is given as a beta. So beta and alpha are the two integral values that we need to find here, and ultimately will result the answer of alpha plus beta. Okay, so let us see how we try to proceed this question. Okay, so before we start to solve this question, let us try to first of all analyze that what is the given function f of t, because the entire question revolves around the main part, that is f of t, right? And please, a minute correction over here, it should be 1 plus. Okay, it is talking about the right hand limit at x equals to 1. Okay, so hi Ashutosh Anand. Okay, okay Kamlesh, can you please tell me the answer? What's the answer are you getting? All right. So if we try to go through this particular problem over here, then let us try to analyze that what is our function f of t, right? So let us try to keep on putting the different values of t, and for that I will try to understand that what is the given range. Okay. Now, interestingly, if you look at this particular problem, we don't need to go for infinite values of t, right? Because this t, so ultimately we need to analyze that particular range of function of t, for which I am basically in the interval of 1 to 8. Okay, so if I'm in the interval of 1 to 8, I just need to look into this particular interval from 1 to 8. Okay, so our task is much simpler. Let's try to see that what happens when t is equal to 1. So when t is equal to 1, f of t is equal to, you can just put it over here and then solve for it, right? Similarly, when your t is basically lying between 1 and 3, then your f of t becomes equals to 4 minus 2t. As you can see from here, the second part, so this becomes as follows, right? And similarly, when your t is equals to 3, again equal to 3, then n is equal to, and which will result the value of f of t as minus of 2. Similarly, if I put the values of, and if I look at the values from t lying between 3 and 5, then I will find out that this particular expression is going to be minus 8 minus of 2t. And when t is equal to 5, then the value of the expression is equals to 2 again. And similarly, when again t ranges from 5 to 7, and the value is again equal to 12 minus 2t. I hope you can understand how I'm going about solving this, right? So if you look at this expression over here, this is a kind of a recursion kind of a relation. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to analyze over here. That is basically summation of two different functions with the values of t included in it, right? So from that, I'm getting this particular expression over here, right? Similarly, when t is equal to 7, then the value of the function of f of t becomes equals to minus of 2 again. And when again t belongs from in between 7 and 8, sorry, 7 to 9, right? So I will be looking into 7 to 9 interval, because again then t is equal to 9, that will come up, right? So in that interval, that t belongs to 7 to 8 will come up, so that is basically equal to minus 16 plus of 2t, right? So that is what we have as the given function f of t, right? Now once we have the function f of t, let us try to analyze what the function looks like. So what we can do is that we can try to plot the graph of the function for different value of t for f of t, right? So it starts from 1 and I'm interested to go up to 8 and 9. Okay, now let us say I want to go till 9. So the functional expression will be like this, as follows, right? So from here we'll have like a straight linear curves. Okay, so this particular part will again go from here to this, and again at 6 it is equal to 0, and similarly at 7 is equal to minus of 2. So what you can understand that this graph is contained within the region 2 to minus 2, right? So or minus 2 to 2. So what you can analyze over here, so let me try to erase this and draw it clearly again. Okay, similarly at 6 is 0 and 7 it's minus 2, and again at 8 it is equals to 0. The diagram is little bit clumsy, so I think you can understand. Okay, and again at 8 it is equal to 0, and again 9 it is equals to 2, right? So that is what the graph of the function will look like. Now if we look at the expression, that is g of x, it is given as integration 1 to x for the function f of t dt, right? So if I try to differentiate this, now what if I differentiate this particular expression, I will get g dash of x is equals to f of x into 1 minus 0. I'm just using the Newton-Leibniz rule, right? So from this particular rule over here, I will get g dash of x is equals to f of x, and from there if I need to get what is the value, so what is the value of g of x, that I can easily do by simply taking an integration. All right, so if I need to find out what is g of x, then that is simply given by integration of f of x, right? Now interesting point over here is that if g dash of x is equal to f of x, and f of x at the values 1, 2, 1 and sorry, if you look at like 3, 5 and 7, these particular values are all equal to constant values. So even all at particular values, that like when the t basically belongs to 1, 3, 5 or 7, that basically g dash of x is equal to some constant, and when g dash is equals to constant, that's what you understand over here. So what you can try to analyze again back over here is that if I try to get the expression of g of x for the integral values like 3, 5 and 7, then this is basically equal to 0. Okay, so x equals to 3, 5 and 7, g of x is equals to 0. Okay, so g of x is equals to 0. So therefore if you look at the so I just need to look out that for which g of x equal to 0 how many roots. Okay, so if you just try to analyze, this will basically become root when this particular point is having a straight tangent is basically parallel to the x-axis, right? As you can see over here, the tangents are basically becoming parallel to the x-axis. Now it would have become parallel to the x-axis at x equal to 1, but x equal to 1 is not included in the domain. It is an open interval, right? So from here we'll get 3 roots corresponding to g of x equal to 0. So therefore our value of alpha is equal to 3. Now our next test is basically to calculate the value of beta, which is nothing but limit x tending to 0 plus 1 plus, and we have g of x divided by x minus 1. So I just going to simply use the L'Hopital rule over here, which is basically giving me the answer as g dash of x divided by 1 and limit when x tending to 1 plus. So if I tend x to 1 plus g dash of x, let us try to see what is the value. So the value of the limit is basically going to be g dash of 1 plus, and that is basically f of 1 plus. So f of 1 plus, if we look over here, is basically over in this interval. So if I put t is equal to 1, or that is going to come out as 2. So therefore from here I'll get the value of beta, which will come out as 2. I hope this is clear, right? So once we have the beta, once we have alpha, so the correct answer to the particular problem, that is basically alpha plus beta is equals to 5. I hope you all are getting the answer as 5. Do let me know if you are getting the answer as 5. Is this correct? Study with Jojo. Are you all getting the same answer? Are you all getting this answer? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Study with Jojo. I hope you get it. I hope you got the answer correct also. Right. Now, since we are basically training for the upcoming JEE Advanced examination, so I won't be repeating the small things, but I hope that you can understand all these particular steps over here. If you have any confusion, you can always put your doubts in the live chat. Okay, I will try to answer your questions. Okay, and if you're someone who is watching the session after the live class is over, you can always put your questions in the comment section. Okay, after the live is over. Okay, and if you want to get one-to-one doubt clearance and want to get mentorship from me, you can always contact the given number in the description box. Okay, you can find the number of me of my team in the description box over there, and you can contact my team from that particular number over there. All right, so I think you will be taking the best benefit of it. Okay, that's good to hear this. Okay, so with this part, let's get started on the next part. Okay, let's move to the next question over here. I hope this question is clear to all of you, and it was a interesting question in terms that the function was not straightforward defined. It was defined in terms of the different parameters. Okay, so when the t is directly equal to some integer, then the value of the function is something, and when so over here what you can understand over here is that the value of this integer over here is basically an odd integer. Okay, so when t is equal to an odd integer, then the function value is something, and when t is lying between these two, between any two odd integers over here, then that t value f of t is something. Okay, that depends upon the previous value of the function. Okay, previous inputs. So that is what is interesting to discuss in this question over here, and ultimately the answer is equal to 5. I hope you all are getting the same answer as equal to 5. All right, so let's get started on the next problem then. So I hope this part is clear to all of you, so we can move to the next problem. Alright, so the next problem is again a very interesting and a simple problem. I know you can all do it very clearly, right? This type of question was generally being asked in JEE mains, right? But interestingly, if you look at the previous year question of JEE Advanced, you will also find that these types of question have also been asked in the JEE Advanced examination. So that basically means this particular topic or the content what we are basically discussing is basically an easy chapter, right? So I know that if you have done a bit of your definite integral and you are good with calculation or solving this integral quickly, then this chapter is going to be really advantageous to all of you. Okay, this is a very high weightage chapter, and it can definitely yield you a very high weightage marks. Okay, so keeping that in mind, let's get started on this particular question over here. Okay, now I would request all of you to, you can try this question. Okay, and we can also compare the answers what you get. Okay, so I'm also trying to solve this question along with you, so meanwhile you can also try it by yourself as well, right? So let us try to lead the question over here. So the question is talking about a set of x and y's. Okay, so question is talking about the set of x and y's, which is basically given by this particular condition, that is x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0, right? And it is also set the condition of y is less than or equal to 4x. Okay, so this is a parabolic inequality over here, and similarly another inequality is given as y square is less than 12 minus 2x, and similarly this is given as 3y plus root 8x is less than or equal to 5 root 8. Okay, that is what is mentioned over here. So if you try to analyze and try to plot this particular region over here, let us try to do it very simple way, right? So if you look at this particular inequality over here, it is basically an, so if you just try to equal or make it equality, then this is basically an equation of a straight line. Similarly, this is an equation of a parabola, and this is also an equation of parabola, right? So we have to draw two parabolas and one straight line, and from that we have to basically plot in the region for which these inequalities are satisfied, and that will give me the required region or the required region of the set S, right? So let us try to do it step by step. So if I try to, first of all, let me plot the linear curve, right? Because that is simple. So if I look at the linear curve, that is basically given as 3y plus root 8x is less than or equal to 5 root 8, right? So if you look over here, then if I need to plot, then the value where this linear curve will intersect the x-axis is basically, so at x-axis it will intersect at 5, and it will intersect the y-axis, or the y-intercept is going to be equal to it is going to be equal to 5 root 8 by 3. Okay, that is what we will have as a curve over here. Now if we look at this particular parabola, that is y square is less than or equal to 4ax, it is a simple parabola that we that we all know, that is y square is equal to 4x, is kind of this. And since we are looking at the interval where x is greater than 0 and y also greater than 0, so I will be only plotting the part of the parabola that is in the first quadrant. Is this particular part clear? And this particular parabola, that is y square is equal to 12 minus 2x, is going to be starting from, so it will start from x y equal to, so at x equal to 0, y is equal to 2 root 3, right? And at y is equal to 0, x equal to 6. Okay, so somewhere over here, and we will have the parabola like this, right? So it will kind of intersect over here, right? So we have to basically find out this particular point of intersection. Now, interestingly, if you put x equals to 3, you put x equal to 3, the y will come out as 2 root 2, right? At x equal to 3, the value of y will come out as 2 root 2. And similarly, over here also at x equal to 3, this particular curve, that is y square is equal to 4x, will also give you the y value as 2 root 2, right? So that is basically the point of intersection. And similarly, on the straight line also, at x equal to 3, this particular curve is going to be 2 root 2. Okay, so that basically means that this particular part is intersecting at this over here. Now, if I try to plot the inequality region over here, now for this curve, or for the first inequality, that is y square is less than or 4x, it is basically talking about the region over here, right? This particular region over here. Similarly, this particular curve, that is y square is less than, again, 12x minus 2x, is also talking about the region inside this particular curve over here. So let me plot it like this, right? And similarly, the straight line also giving this particular curve, right? So the point, the intersection of all these three inequalities is basically going to be this particular region, which I am shading with yellow over here. Okay, I hope you can understand this particular is the required region, or the what we call as a set S, right? Or what is given in this question as set S. This is the required region. Okay, and let us divide this region into two regions, that is A1 and this is as A2, right? Now, why I am doing that, you will try to understand and you get it very simple way. Okay, this, let us call this A2, sorry, this is called, let us call as A1, and this is called as A2, right? So why I am doing it, you will try to understand in a very straightforward manner over here, is that, so the entire area is going to be a sum of, so if I have to find out the entire area, it is sum of A1 plus A2, right? Now, why I am dividing it is that, now I can first of all find the area under this parabola from x equal to 0 to x equal to 3 over here, and then I can easily find the area under the straight line from 3 to 5, and that will yield me the required answer, right? Which is very simple to find out. And if you know the shortcuts, you can always do it just in one step, but I'm not going to promote the shortcuts over here, because again you have to remember one more thing. So the area, we will have it as A1 plus A2. So the first area A1 is basically going to be integration from 0 to, so integration from 0 to, extremely sorry, it should be actually x equal to 3, okay, sorry, x equal to 2, it should be x equal to 2. That's a mistake from my side, it should be x equal to 2, otherwise you're not going to have this answer as 2 root 2, right? Okay, because at x equal to 2 only, it's going to be equal to 2 root 2, right? And similarly from here also it is 2 root 2, and for the straight line also it's 2 root 2, right? Extremely sorry, it should be x equal to 2. Okay, please correct this one. I hope you have done it correctly only. Okay, so the first integral over here, the first area is going to be 0 to 2, and x square is equal to 4x, so y is equal to, sorry, y square is equal to 4x, so y is equal to 2 square root of x, and this will give me 2 square root of x dx. And the second part of the area is simply a triangle, because it is bounded by the linear curve, right? So it's a triangle, half into base into height, the base is 3 and the height is basically 2 root 2. Okay, so with this part you'll get the solution over here as follows, and it is said that the area is given as alpha times root 2, and if you just try to integrate it, it is going to be 3 by 2, and this is going to be again 3 by 2, and within the limit 0 to 2, and this particular part is going to be equal to 3 root 2, right? So ultimately your answer, you are going to have it as alpha root 2 is going to be equal to 17 root 2 by 3, 17 root 2 by 3, and therefore ultimately from here your value of alpha is going to be 17 by 3. So therefore the value of the alpha, you will have it as 17 by 3. With this you will have the answer to this particular problem as option number B, which is going to be the correct answer. I hope this part is clear to all of you. I hope this question is clear. Are you all getting the same answer? At first, the question looked way big, but you made it very small and simpler. Welcome, welcome. Very good. Yes. Yes, study with Jojo. That's what my effort is. Okay. I try to make questions simpler for the students. Okay. The question might seem difficult, but you have to go through the question step by step. And if you break the question step by step, then the question is very, very simple. Okay. Is this part clear to all of you? Yes, study with Jojo. Is this part clear? Wonderful. Right. Yes, Jaguar. Hello, Jaguar. Jaguar 999. How are you doing? All right. That's great. Study with Jojo. So I hope you're also getting the same answer. Option number B is the correct answer. Okay. All right. So yeah, hi Prem. All right, that's so good. So now we can proceed with the next problem then. If this question is clear, then we can proceed with the next problem. Okay. So let's try to move to the next problem from here. Let's try to talk about the next problem. Okay. And next problem is again taken from the previous year JEE advanced problem. So if you look at this problem, this is a very straightforward problem. Okay. It's a very simple, straightforward problem. Just you bound the limits or the inequalities and you get to the solution. Okay. Now, I feel that this question is very straightforward. So I won't be directly solving the question. I would request all of you to please try to solve this question and tell me the answer quickly. Okay. Please try to go through this question. Please try to go through this question and tell me the answer you are getting. Da Prem, how are you doing? Hello Shivam. Thank you for your appreciation. Shivam Shivastava. That's good that you liked it. Okay, so if we try to analyze these particular regions over here, it's a very straightforward problem. Okay, so let us try to do the inequalities or the bound of the inequalities step by step, and from that we'll try to analyze the given region or the area. Okay, thank you, Prem. Okay, so first of all, if we look at the value of x over here, the x is basically bounded between 0 to 9 upon 4, right? So we will be only looking at the values of x, which is basically bounded between 0 to 9 upon 4, right? And next it is said that y is also bounded between 0 to 1. Okay, so ultimately our region of interest basically get reduced to this particular rectangle, right? And next if we look at over here, yeah, hi Shivam, you also are IIT math faculty. That's good to hear that math faculties are also learning from me. Okay, yeah, hi Prem. That's good. That's good that you are starting a class 12th. Okay, so this is very, very important chapter for class 12th. Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so if we try to plot the y is greater than, so the inequality, the first inequality is as saying that x is greater than 3y, right? So x is greater than 3y. So if I put values of x equals to 9 upon 4, so let us try to analyze that what is the value I will get. So it's going to be a straight line passing to the origin. It's a straight line passing to the origin over here. So this straight line is going to be something like that, like this over here. So I'm trying to draw it roughly. Okay, something like this. All right. So at x equals to 9 upon 4, the value of y is going to be 3 upon 4. Okay. So this is plus only. Okay. And this is value is going to be 3 upon 4, right? And then if we look at the next particular inequality that is given as x plus y is greater than or equal to 2. So x plus y is equal to a straight line. And then if we try to incorporate the inequality over here, so the straight line is going to be looking like it has the y-intercept and x-intercept both equal to 2, right? So this is 2 and this is also 2, and this is going to be something like this. Okay. So and ultimately if we look at the region, and the region that is basically talking about this particular straight line gives the region that is on the this particular side. Okay, that is on this particular side because x plus y is greater than 2, right? So origin is not satisfying this inequality. So that basically means that this is the region which is talking about in this second inequality, right? And the first inequality is talking about this particular region which is inside, which is this particular interval. Okay, and ultimately if we try to bound the inequalities by the given region, so ultimate region that we're going to get is this following region over here, which I'm shading with yellow. Is this part clear? Is this part clear? Okay, so from this you can observe over here, it is a very simple problem over here. You just have to find this area of this quadrilateral. Okay, now interestingly, you don't need to do any perform any integration over here also. What you can try to do is that you can break this quadrilateral into two areas or two rectangles. Okay, sorry, two triangles. Okay, so what you try can do is over here is that first of all calculate the area of the triangle O, and let us call some naming. Let us call it C, let us call it D, and let us call it some B, and this A. So first of all calculate the area of the triangle OCD, and from there if you subtract this particular area that I am shading with blue, if you subtract this blue region, then ultimately you will get the area of the required quadrilateral. Okay, so the area which is required is basically area of this triangle OCD, minus area of the triangle OAB. Okay, so from this you can easily find out this given answer. Okay, anybody got the answer? Anybody got the answer? Yes, study with Jojo, what's your answer coming out? Please let me know what's the answer you're getting. Sir, I don't know how to start a question. Why don't you know how to start a question? Read the question. Read the question, try to understand what the question is talking about. If you read the question carefully, then the question is very simple. Okay, see, you are starting class 12. I know it will be difficult at starting of class 12 to analyze this question. Okay, because this particular session is especially for the students who are preparing for the coming JEE advanced examination that is going to happen in the month of May. Okay, so I am basically discussing this session especially for the students who are going to appear the coming examination, and for you the students who are basically on class 11th and 12th, you can also watch this session, but you have to understand the basics of the concepts that you need to analyze, and then you have to apply the concept over here. Now for the starting time it might be looking very difficult, but once you go on solving this type of questions a lot of number of times, then it will be very simpler to all of you. Is this clear, the Prem? Is this part clear? Okay, so from this part, if you try to do and take the area of these triangles, and if you subtract it, the answer that I have got is basically equal to 11 upon 32. Anybody getting the same answer? Anybody getting the same answer? Please let me know. So from here you will see that option number A is going to be the correct answer from this question. Okay, is this clear to all of you? Is this part clear? Yes, no, anything? Alright, so if this part is clear, let's move to the next problem. Okay, that's great. That's great. So let's move to the next problem. The next problem is going to be a really important and interesting problem. Now this question has a lot of concepts that we need to analyze. Okay, so if we look at the problem, it might look very difficult in the start. Okay, but let us try to analyze how we can make this problem simpler. Okay, now this problem might look difficult in sense that it is not directly talking about a function, rather it has some graphical transformation that we need to perform in order to get to the solution. Okay, so before we start with the chapter of area under the curve, I hope that you have all done the graphical transformation. It is very important, especially for JEE Advanced, to have an idea about the graphical transformation, like especially that of taking a mod in x or mod in y, or if you are taking some multiple variables and then taking a composition variable. Okay, so that is very important, especially if you're looking at the JEE Advanced problems. So some example of that is basically given over here. So if you look at the first function, so the first function is given as f of x is defined as e to the power x minus 1 minus e to the power minus of x minus 1 and mod of it. Okay, so that is what the first f of x is given as, right? Now if we try to analyze, so it will have multiple definition depending upon the values of x. Okay, so for values of x which is greater than 1, or let us say greater than equal to 1, this value of the f of x is going to come out as e to the power x minus 1 minus of e to the power 1 minus x. Similarly when x is less than 1, then this value is going to be e to the power x minus 1 minus minus e to the power x minus 1, which is going to be equal to 0. So for x less than 1, the value of the function f of x is going to be equal to 0, right? And similarly, if we try to analyze the second function, that is g of x, the g of x is given as half times of e to the power x minus 1 plus e to the power 1 minus x, right? And now if I need, so if we have to basically find out the area of the region in the first quadrant that is bounded by the curve y is equal to f of x and y is equal to g of x. So for that, we have to first of all analyze the function over here, and from that, so let us, I'm drawing any arbitrary curve like this, right? I'm drawing some arbitrary curve, and then we have to basically get the bound of this function, right? So since it's an exponential function, and so this function will be looking very interesting, but I'm not interested to draw the graph of the function. Okay, okay, what I'm interested is to find out that the point of intersections. Okay, so let us try to find out the point of intersection first of all. So point of intersection of g of x and f of x, let us try to find it out. So for point of intersection, I will equate f of x to g of x, right? So let us try to equate the f of x to g of x, and I will take the interval that is x is greater than 0. Sorry, greater than 1, right? So for the interval x is greater than 1, then our e to the power x plus x minus 1 minus e to the power 1 minus x should be equals to half times of e to the power x minus 1 plus e to the power 1 minus x, right? Now from this interval, if I try to solve it, so if I try to solve for x greater than or equal to 1, this particular interval over here, then I'll get e to the power x minus 1 is equals to 3 times of e to the power 1 minus x, right? You can just do this manipulation by on your own, and then again if I try to manipulate, this is basically e by e to the power x, and then I take it on the left hand side, then this result is going to be e to the power 2x, e to the power 2x is equals to 3 times of e square, 3 times of e square. This is a very simple step. What I'm doing over here is that I'm writing this as e to the power x by e, and this is as e by e to the power x, and then I'm cross multiplying to get to this relation. Okay, now from here, if I solve for x, the x is coming out as half times of natural log of 3, half times of natural log of 3 plus of 1. Okay, now this is going to give you this result as follows. Okay, so x is obviously greater than or equal to 1, and now if I try to analyze that the given function over here, so the very first thing that I try to analyze is that the function that is g of x, the function g of x is basically kind of a having a curvature like that of a parabola with the minima occurring at. So what you can try to do is that you can try to always try to sketch the curve, and for curve sketching, what I would try to say that first of all try to analyze the minima of g dash of the g of x, right? So for minima, I will equate g dash of x to 0, and from that I will get x equals to 1. Okay, from that I will get x equal to 1. So therefore x equal to 1 is a minima. Okay, is a minima because f double dash of x at x equal to 1 is going to be positive, that basically shows it's a minima, right? So and if you look at the curvature, it is also going to be positive, and it also going to be for all values of x, which is basically it is going to be positive. So for all values of x, this g dash of x is also going to be positive. That basically means it's a concave upward, right? And if you look at the g dash of the sign of g dash of x, for x greater than 1 it is increasing, and for x less than 1 it is decreasing. Okay, so there are two interval to it. So therefore with this, the nature of the curve or the function of g of x is going to look like something like this. Okay, first of all decreasing till x equals to 1, and then again increasing from x greater than 1, right? And if you try to analyze the f of x function, so f of x function at x greater than 1, it is kind of a exponential function, right? It's an exponential thing over here. So it's also like this, and this is the point of intersection over here. That point of intersection is basically half times of natural log of 3 plus 1, and then at x less than 1, all values, it is basically equal to 0, right? So ultimately, if we are looking at the region that is bounded in the curve is basically and also in the first quadrant. So therefore the region that we are talking about, let me shade it with yellow. So this is the given required region. Okay, so this is the required region over here. Okay, now let us see how we can evaluate this integral. So instead of calculating the integral from 0 to this x value of half natural log 3 plus 1, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the entire region from 0 to x, and then I subtract this particular region of the parabola. That also I can do it, right? or I can just subtract this function g of x with this function f of x, right? So that required area is going to be 0 to 1 plus natural log of 3 and half times the natural log of 3 and g of x minus f of x and then dx of it. Okay, now from here if you try to solve this integral, it's going to come out a required answer. Okay, so it's a very straightforward question because it's an exponential function and integration of exponential function remains the same, right? So if you just try to do that and integrate and you put the limits as follows, then the answer you will get is something. The answer is quite the quite bigger expression, so I'm writing it over here. It's kind of 1 by root 3 plus half times of e minus 1 by e minus of 4 by root 3 plus of 2. That is what the answer. So if you just try to evaluate the answer according to this answer over here, it is going to be 2 minus root 3 plus half times of e minus e to the power minus 1. So that is, with this we'll have answer this particular problem as option number A. Okay, as option number A, that is going to be the correct answer. Okay, as you can see, if you just put the integration limits and if you just evaluate the solution, the answer is going to come out as option number A. Is this part clear to all of you? Is this part clear to all of you? Hi Vikran, don't study from him. Okay, if you don't want to study, you don't study, but don't disturb the people who want to study. Okay, the smart people will study, but the fool will move away. Okay, so is this part clear to all of you? That's good. That's good. Study with Jojo. That's good. So I hope this session was interesting to all of you. Was this question interesting? So if you look at all the questions that I have taken up so far, what we are trying to do is that first we are trying to analyze the nature of the curve or the nature of the function. Once we are able to analyze the nature of the function, we are trying to plot an estimate area or the estimate region of the curve, right? So from that estimated region, we are trying to find out how we can apply our integration technique to get to the required answer of the area under the curve. Is this part clear to all of you? Right. So I'm assuming that these questions are very straightforward, right? That's good. That's good. Okay. So with this part, do you have any questions? Do you have any more questions? Any doubts? Anything? Right. And don't forget to subscribe to this particular channel because we are going to come live every day on this particular content, on this point of contents. Okay. So we are going to especially prepare and revise for the upcoming JEE advanced examination. So students who are basically going to appear for the upcoming JEE advanced examination, it is very, very important to watch these particular sessions, okay? Because this session will give you quite a good idea on how you should prepare the questions and how you could set your revision patterns, okay? I hope this is clear. And if you want to get personalized one-to-one interaction, you can always contact the given number in the description box, okay? You can always contact my team from the given number in the description box. I hope you will take the best use of it, okay? And if you find this video helpful, okay, don't forget to like this particular video and also share this video among your friends, okay? And among the friends whom you think that they definitely need this particular content, okay? Because these are just for free on YouTube. All of things that we need is basically just an internet connection and just turn into the YouTube and get started with this particular sessions. Okay. Now before we start, we also have to understand and go through the basics from the NCERT textbook. Okay. And before you are going for the actual examination, it is very, very important to understand and make short notes, because short notes is very, very crucial, especially if you're looking at the last day's revision. Sir, you taught Pranam. Well, I will always listen. Oh, thank you. Study with Jojo. That's good. Okay, don't worry about the comments. Okay, we'll get lot of random comments, but what you have to understand is that you have to make your own way out. Okay, because these contents are available just for free. No one will give you this kinds of content for free. So please do make the best use of it. Okay, because smart people will do make the best use of it and they will definitely crack the IIT JEE examination. Okay, so be among the smart persons. All right, so I have some question kept up as homework. So I would request all of you to please take a screenshot and try to go through this question. Okay, please take a screenshot and try to solve this question and let me know. This is also the second homework problem. Okay, so we have two homework problems with us. So this is the second homework problem. Please take a screenshot, and this is the first homework problem. Okay, please do take a screenshot and solve it, and let me know the answer you're getting in the comment section. Okay, you take your time, try to solve it, try to analyze the question. These questions are very important, especially for the upcoming JEE advanced examination. Okay, so with this part, I would like to wrap up the session that we have discussing so far on the topic of area under the curve. So in the upcoming session, you're going to come up with the topic of differential equation, which is again very important, especially for JEE advanced. Okay, yes, milestone option A. Option A. For which answer you are telling about? Please mention the question number before writing the answer. Okay, this is a homework 1 or homework 2. Okay, so okay, take your time, you solve it, and let me know the answer in the comment section after the session is over. Okay, I will definitely reply back to you. Okay, and in case if you feel any of your questions are not clear, or if you still want further clarification, you can always put that question in the comment section. I will try to answer your questions as soon as possible. Alright, so with this part, let us wrap up our session over here, and thank you for your attention. Thank you for joining the session live. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the session and you will take the benefit of the session in the future as well. Alright, so with this, I would like to end our session over here, and thank you all of you. All the best.